Welcome once again to the Country HQ Spotlight On podcast, where over the next few days and maybe a week or so, we're going to shine the spotlight on some of the artists performing at the amazing Groundwater Country Music Festival on the Gold Coast, starting October 18th. I'm your host, Adam Simon, and today we're thrilled to have country music singer, songwriter, rock star extraordinaire, rodeo king, Robbie Mortimer with us. And Robbie's just released his latest single, This One's For You. It's a fantastic, stirring country rock anthem, just perfect for summer. He's gearing up for an amazing performance at Groundwater in a few weeks' time. So Robbie's also had some experience on the PBR Monster Tour, so we're going to dive into that and everything else we can do in between. Robbie Mortimer, welcome to the show. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate. Thank you very much for having me, and it's a great intro too. I might take you everywhere.
I work pretty cheap, free T-shirt or CD, it's all good. Mate, let's kick off with the new single, This One's For You. It's such a great feel-good vibe. A lot of your music makes you feel good. It's not that country music where you're down and out and you're feeling bad and so on. It's a great vibe. It's perfect for summer. Can you tell us the story about the song and what inspired it?
For sure, mate. Yeah, I guess I've been on this kind of little country music journey for most of all my adult life now. So I grew up on a farm in Orange with my mum and dad and my four older brothers, and I guess it was always kind of something that was around was country music, and I guess it was just all the songs, everything that it was just so relatable. Everything that I was actually physically doing on the farm or in my small country town was so people were actually already singing it, and that's why my connection with country music came, I guess, so heavily. And I've obviously been inspired by a lot of people across the years, but I guess it was always just a kind of a connection to country music that that I guess got me into writing and singing and performing now and mate, This One's For You it's basically just paying homage to, I guess, a lot of the people. I'm from a small country town, obviously, and have, I guess, a lot of people that have been on my journey from, my mum, my dad, my beautiful little family. And, mate, it's been a bit of a journey. So I guess kind of, not just that, but I've got some wonderful fans that have been there from day one. Mm-hmm. And they've kind of excited to see my growth and development as an artist and as a human being as well. So I guess this song is kind of just paying a bit of homage to those people, and mate, just as you said, it makes you feel good. It's, if you listen to the lyrics, there's a bit of depth in the lyrics as well. But mainly it's a feel good summer kind of song that goes great live. And yeah, I'm very proud of it, mate. I'm starting to build a good little catalogue, which I'm very happy with.
I was about to say, it is an addition to what seems to be developing to a really strong catalogue. And so early in your career, probably doesn't seem early in your career from your point of view, but early in your career, it's so important to have that foundation, isn't it? Where we talk about you can't build a house by putting the roof on first. You relate a solid foundation. And that foundation has also allowed you a fantastic connection to, you just mentioned, your fan base. What is it between you and your fans? They go absolutely mental for you when you're on stage. They're ready to follow you to, your next release, your next concert and so on. How important has it been for that developing that fan base with you and that connection?
Yeah, mate, I don't have a job without fans, without people that are, and I think musicians get really caught up in that sometimes. It's a lot of the other stuff that we kind of focus on, but in my opinion, there's two things that musicians and artists and most people should be focused on, and in my opinion, it's the song. The song's always the first thing. If you got a good song, then everything else will win around it. And I've been given some great advice from some very, amazing people in the industry that I look up to is you really focus on the song and the rest will come. And the second is the people that consume it. And obviously I'm a big lover of people. I was a special needs school teacher before I started music full-time. Oh, when I say, full-time, I've obviously always done music, but, before I launched into it full-time. So I really enjoy connecting and communicating with people. And I think a lot of people just, I think I'm a pretty easy bloke to get along with. And that's, having the time of day to have a chat to some people, have turned some people into some pretty good raving fans, I think. And then I've just got a wonderful list of people that are kind of following me around the country and really excited about my, following me on all the socials and basically listening to my catalogue day in, day out. So that's the most important thing is, really, really, ensuring that your fans are connecting to what you're writing and also the lifestyle that you're putting out there as well. So, it's forever evolving, but it's something that I'm glad I learned early on.
I think that lifestyle you talked about, how this is your full-time job. It's not your job unless you've got those fans there. And a lot of musicians don't understand, especially starting out young, that this is a full-time job, isn't it? The words music and business probably shouldn't really be mentioned together, but it is a business, and you've got to songwrite, you've got to tour, you've got to drive to tour, you've got to do your socials, and all of a sudden it can be a thing. And I think that's where your dedication, your originality is building that fan base. I was talking to someone the other day and they showed me this app, which essentially is just AI, and it just created this fantastic song from scratch in about 2 minutes. And I thought to myself, this is where artists like yourself, and even going back to people like Brandy and Troy and other up-and-coming artists, like, we chatted with Megan Woods yesterday, also from up in the Orange region. This is where you guys really have to work harder than ever, isn't it? I mean, we've just seen Luke Combs just sold out ridiculous amount of tickets in Australia in 24 hours. But I think someone like Luke, and also down to your emerging level, you still have to work just as hard, don't you? Because we're threatened by technology taking away this thing we love called music.
Totally. I really appreciate you've kind of pointed that out, because I think it's probably been put on the back burner for a lot of people. But, in some ways it's a little bit of a scary time for probably more unknown that we've had for quite a while, because as you mentioned, someone can spit out a song in or a computer can spit it out. But mate, I really, this is my, I guess, uneducated opinion on it, is I think the reason country music is so big now is because it's the most real thing. There's so much of that pop stuff and other kind of genres, I guess, that have probably a little bit of a different lifestyle. I said, like, there's nothing more real than a man or a woman who's working hard, and I think Australia's built off hard work. Our identity is built off hard work from day dot to recent times. Australians are known for being hard, tough people, and our identity, a lot of our identity, I feel, comes from the land and those people that have really had to, and I think that a lot of people get respect for that, and that's a lot of what country music is, because that's my as I said, probably an uneducated opinion on that, but that is definitely my opinion. I think having that authenticity and that realness is, and you can, mate, people can see straight through it. If you're pretending to be someone you're not, opposite, there's no point. It's and it's unattractive. It's not a good thing to do when you're trying to build people and this and that. You just got to do it. It takes a lot longer. Trust me. I would have liked to be doing this 10 years ago, but.
Yeah.
But it's all part of my it's all part of my journey. It's all part of where I'm at, and I truly believe in that as well, which is really exciting, mate. So so I think just that real connectivity is a really important thing, and as you said, fighting against the elements, I guess.
Is that something that you think of when you sit down to write a song, not only how you're going to record it, but also how you're going to perform it? I'm pretty sure it must be a challenge to balance out the commercial aspect versus that authenticity. Is that something which you had to learn to be, I suppose, patient with, but also to measure yourself against when it comes to sit down and write a song?
Mate, that's another terrific question, because my favorite part of being a musician is the live performance. I love performing live. I love connecting with people. I love how music can make you feel. I'm the type of person that's stood in the back row of a concert and wept my eyes out because that song has connected with me in some way. So I love having the ability to be able to do that on a different level, of course. There was obviously some artists that are obviously a lot higher than what I am, but that connectivity to music. And my thing is, there's a song in a studio and your voice is tuned and everything's great and everything's perfect, and it has to be for things like radio and all those kind of things, for people that are consumed, because things are so accessible these days. It's as simple as a skip of a button. Yeah. So then I really have prided myself on my band. I've got a wonderful band that I'm working with, that I've worked tirelessly for the last couple of years with these boys, and our live set is a lot more rockier, a little bit on a bit edgier, a little bit, not as kind of finely tuned and finely polished. And I think that that's a really attractive thing for people to come and watch us do that, because, you can have this perfect polish. And I think that there is a space and there needs to be a place for that polished kind of, art. But I really enjoy the rawness of playing live and a bit of rock and roll, So so it's finding that balance is definitely something that you figure out. And honestly, as you mentioned, it's actually something I think of from the second my pen hits the paper of writing this song, how I want it to sound live, how I want it to sound with production, and then I let the art do the talking. So it's a really great question, mate. But there's a lot of variables in between of that as well.
And I think that connectivity, say you connect to the song, and that's the other thing where I've seen you perform live, and I've had friends come, and you might be on stage for an hour and a half, but you come off stage and you're going to talk to anyone who comes up and talks to you, wants a sign, wants a photo, and so on and so. And that's that connectivity, and that's the thing that keeps people coming back time and time again. We go back to, say, CMA Fest in Nashville 25, 30 years ago, where someone like Garth Brooks sat down for 24 hours straight and signed autographs for 24 hours. That's what we have to do now to maintain that connection. And you really mastered that. And I think that lends itself to why people are coming to see you. So we've got you performing at the Groundwater Music Festival in October. This is one of the biggest country music events in all Australia. It's fantastically supported by the Gold Coast City Council. And it brings artists not just from Australia, but all over from around the world. Some American artists as well, Jim Lauderdale, Tim Hicks, all these amazing artists coming in as well. But what can fans expect from you and your band's performance coming up at Groundwater?
Yeah, mate, I've got a very exciting show. I've been working on it for quite a while. Mate, to put it into perspective, I manifested this festival for a couple of years actually previously, and I really wanted to play. I've got a couple that I've manifested, and to see my name against, some of the art next to, some of the artists that you've just mentioned. It kind of I get chills every time I hear it, mate, because I'm country kid. I've always wanted to do this professionally, and now to see my name alongside a lot of these people is wonderful. And I take every gig like it's my last, and I think I very much live like that as well. Live fast, die young, and kind of attitude, and it's helped me so much in a lot of opportunities that I've been given as well. So, mate, if people are coming to Groundwater, the first thing I always say is come up and say good day. I'd love to meet you, and I'd love to chat, and I often have a beer with a lot of my fans become close friends of mine. So I very much encourage people to come up and be a part of the journey. And in terms of the show, a lot of original songs that I've released this year, but some really fun ones that I haven't released. I've also chucked a couple of covers in here for some people that might not know any of my catalogue, and that's extremely important as well. But it's going to be very high energy. I've got a couple of little surprises up the sleeve as well. So there's going to be really high energy kind of country rocking show, and I'll be front manning a lot of it, and commanding the crowd, and doing it with a huge smile on my face as well, mate, which is that's one thing. I think if you're smiling while you're doing anything, you can trick your brain. Even if you're not enjoying it, you can trick your brain into loving it. So but I should preface that saying, as I mentioned, live performing is definitely my most enjoyable thing, part of the music industry, and to play at such a wonderful stage like Groundwater, which as I mentioned, I manifested for the last couple of years. I've been looking at this, circle this in the diary, and mate, I'm counting down the days. I cannot wait for this opportunity.
At festivals like Groundwater and to a different extent Tamworth or Gympie or Denny and so on, the festival's also an opportunity for you to become the fan as well. Like you might duck off stage and go and see who else you can see, put your fan cap back on for a few hours if you can, if you have time. Absolutely,
mate. Well, one of the things I actually get a lot of my band, or just even fans that have said that, like, we thought you'd be hanging backstage and this and that. And like, mate, I'm a music fan. I adore music. So the second I finish, I'm out the front, usually having meeting people and having a beer and just consuming it, mate, because I'm a diehard music fan myself. So I'm often wandering around and just mingling with the people that give us our job, as I mentioned. So that's very important to me, because as I said, I'm a huge music fan in general, and it's good to see it from other people's perspective as well, and the consumer's perspective, and it helps me kind of understand the way that people perceive me on stage as well, and how important it is to have that connectivity. It's really important to help people, feel wanted and loved and respected in purchasing tickets, or in this case, which is wonderful. Groundwater's a free event, which I think is just absolutely incredible for Gold Coast City Council to be putting on something like this, and Mark Duckworth and the whole crew to be putting their faith in such hard times for country music. I think on behalf of all artists, we're very grateful for people like Mark and those wonderful promoters that are giving us our opportunity to put food on the table. So, mate, getting out there in the crowd is a very important thing to me. As I mentioned, the first thing would be just to, because I enjoy music, and obviously seeing it from a different perspective, and it gives other people a bit of an opportunity to understand that I'm one of them as a consumer and a friend as well. And mate, it's a very important part of it for me, for sure.
I think that's why country music's not just surviving at the moment, but thriving, because the artists have always maintained that connection to their fan 101. It's not it's a commercial business, but it's you started as a fan. I started as a fan with, Marty Robbins records on the floor that Dad would have laying around, or, John Denver or Jerry Jeff Walker or Guy Clark albums my uncle gave me. My uncle was kind enough to give me his record collection the night before my HSC. So have a guess what happened that night.
No, you didn't get beat.
No. I studied just the wrong things. So
exactly right.
then we've got this energy you must have when you do this PBR, the Professional Bull Riders Association, that Monster Energy Tour. I mean, is that a different type of energy on those things? Because the sport itself is an amazing visual feast, and I've seen it before. Those concerts and so on, are they bringing a different energy or a different crowd, or it's a hot, just amped up feeling?
Yeah, mate, it's that's another great kind of question, because it's totally different to anything I've ever experienced. I think the best thing I did was learn and get an understanding that these people aren't here for me. I have an opportunity to win them over. They're here to watch bull riding. So don't go out there and command them and do this and that in a way that they wouldn't respect it. Earn your respect and do that by showing how much you love music. So I feel like I've done that very well. I've been given a wonderful opportunity. I go out there for 11 minutes a night and to this sold out arena. I sing songs that I wrote in my hometown. I jump up on the chutes and in a different way, command the crowd and get people on board, and they can tell how much I enjoy it and how much I love it. So that's the way to win people over, but it's all to track. There's no band, it's anything like that. So there's a lot that can go wrong, and it's a very nerve-wracking gig, and you've got a lot of area to cover. You've kind of got a 360-degree stage, and you're so far away from everyone. So as much as it's definitely been my most enjoyable gig that I've done in terms of, I think, showing that I can rise to a small arena and entertain that many people who, as I mentioned, aren't there for me. And because of that, I've been able to win over, tens of thousands of fans this year across the country, and also last year. So I've noticed the crowd getting better. And the best thing is, mate, I said a lot of people are singing along to those songs. So a lot of them kind of do come along for the journey for me in the end of the day. So, but it is very different. It's a wonderful opportunity to get in front of that many people each night. So I learned that early on, and I've enjoyed taking that on as part of my mantra, I guess.
If it's any reassurance, that lesson you learned, that lesson was taught to me by Keith Urban many years ago when he said he toured with Slim. Keith toured with Slim, and he had to learn that they weren't here to see him. He was the opener for Slim, but what he did actually do wrong was he went out and tried to perform like Slim instead of being Keith Urban, jumping across tables and hooting and hollering.
She read that in his book. I remember actually reading that in his book. Yeah, that's
he said, well, Slim had to explain to him that, sure, they're not there to see him, but by the end of the tour, they will be if he's himself. I think that's the thing where you lend yourself, whether it be PBR, whether it be Tamworth, whether it be Groundwater, as long as yourself, that conversion, I'm pretty sure if you do those PBR things, say 11 minutes, I'm pretty sure, look at your socials the next day, look at your Spotify numbers, look at your streaming numbers. They're going to peak, they're going to peak, they're going to peak.
Absolutely.
And that's all, we come back to that foundation you're building. So
for sure, mate. Yeah, and it's a great lesson. It's a great lesson to learn. And as I mentioned, I learned it the very first one I did. It wasn't an issue with me learning it or anything like that. It was just something that I was very proud that my head was on my shoulders, is on my shoulders to understand that early on. Because otherwise, it can be pretty daunting when you're singing and people are getting up and getting out there, to go to the toilets because they all just want to see the next round of bull riding. And I'm very lucky that I never had that. I worked the crowd in a way that was inviting for them, and respected their time, and I, in return, I got it back.
In that rodeo environment too, I mean, yes, it's just extremely violent, confronting sport in some instances, but it's still a family-based event. Everyone can feel safe. You can take your kids, you can take your friends, you can take whatever. It's a very safe environment. Everyone's there to have a good time and celebrate this amazing thing. Rodeo is hotter than ever, I think, in Australia at the moment. So you've got that iron while the iron's hot there perfectly. So mate, coming back, we started talking about the single. This one's for you. What's next? Have you got another single planned, or are you working towards an album late 2024, early 2025? What's the plan for Robbie Mortimer?
Yeah, mate. Well, my thing was this year, I wanted to just show, I guess, to answer that question, I have to go back about a year or two where I had some music ready to go, and for whatever reason, I got some advice, and also myself, I wasn't ready to do what I'm doing now a year or two ago. Right. I had to get a few more ducks in a row. I had to learn some hard lessons. I had to go through ride the wave a little bit more to then live a bit more a life to then be able to write it. So then it became more connectable to people. So, mate, I was itching at the bit to try and release these songs, but I just knew if I waited and got some of these ducks in a row, it would happen for me better and quicker. And I'm very proud of that. I'm so proud that I had the headspace and also some terrific advice of a couple of industry people who gave me that advice as well. So let out with Blow the Speakers in March, which gave me an incredible release into the world, I guess, and gave people a bit of an idea of who I am and what I stand for, and it was a bit of a mission statement. And then I've released another 3 songs so far, and I'm tossing up between 2 songs to release later in this year, so either October or November. Yep. And then, mate, next year I've got a pretty special collab I'm just looking at working on, and I've been pitched a couple of songs from some people over in Nashville as well. So I'll get over to Nashville and start writing next year at some stage, and I'm writing with some incredible artists here in Australia. But yeah, for the rest, my whole thing was I wanted people to come to things like Groundwater and all these wonderful events that I'm now able to perform at, and at least know, 5 or 6 of my songs instead of, me saying, hey, this is not released, but it will be soon, because I did that for 3 years. So that was my goal this year. I wanted to get some songs out there, some consistency, some people getting excited about my thing. But as I mentioned, it's so important that they're quality. The song has to be quality for people to continue being excited about it. And then I reckon I'll release I'm looking at maybe 2 or 3 songs next year before. I've been writing this album for the last, probably 4 years. So start getting into producing that, and then just figure out a time to release that. So I know that sounds very unplanned, but it is all planned on a few variables.
Planned.
So I need to have form to these places, and that's this year has done for me, is give me a good opportunity to get 5, 6 songs out there this year.
When you head to Nashville, can you let me know? Because I've got friends in immigration. I want to make sure visa cancelled after about 30 days, because I'm pretty sure that could be a one-way ticket for you. You just hit Nashville and someone's going to see you play or write with you. We could lose you to Nashville very quickly, Robbie. So,
mate, well, I'll tell you now, I've done Nashville a couple of times, and I absolutely adore the part of the world. But mate, I love Australia. I am so honoured to be Australian. I think the nicest thing I've found, being a little bit of a lost kid here and there, and I guess a lost adult here and there, I've really found a place and a sense of community and a sense of belonging in the Australian country music community. Yeah. And I know that might not sound like, but to me, it's really beautiful to have some people that I connect with, some people that I love, some people that enjoy what I do and also respect how hard I'm working. And I don't have to go and tell people how hard I'm working. The proof's in the pudding. Yeah. And I do love that I have a beautiful home in Australian country music. It probably only happened for me this year that I actually started to solidify a little bit of my place. I've got a long way to go, don't get me wrong. But at least this year, the wheels started to turn and people took me seriously this year. And now I've got some wonderful opportunities, as I mentioned, like Groundwater and some other things like that I just don't take for granted, because I know how hard I've worked for it. And to have a belonging and to have some people that believe in me now is really special, mate. So, as I do love the States, and I will always love the States. But, you never say never, of course. But,
no.
But, mate, I love Australian country music. I love where we're going. I love that we have that identity, as I spoke about earlier. And it's nice to have a place to belong to.
Fantastic. We hope you belong a long time for us. Mate, last question before we let you go. Thank you so much for your time. We always ask the same last question of everyone. I want to ask you, you walk out on that Groundwater stage in October, what's it going to feel like to be Robbie Mortimer when you walk out on stage?
Mate, I'm a pretty kind of emotional kind of bloke, so there'll definitely be some emotion there, because I know how hard I've worked to have an opportunity like this. A lot of up and downs for me, not just this year. I've had quite a few this year, but my whole life is all of our lives is such a wave. So nothing is guaranteed, and I very much understand that. So, mate, there'll be a big breath, there'll be a smile, there'll be a little bit of emotion shown, and then, mate, it'll be an hour of absolute high intense country rock. And it will feel, I think I'll have a certain level of fulfillment, because I'm feeling a goal of mine. I've manifested this one in particular for a long time. So, but then, you know what, mate? The second I walk off stage, there'll be a lot of hunger. I'll want to do it again, and I want to do it on the bigger stage next year. And that's us as humans. But I think I'm glad I've got that little trait. But yeah, mate, I probably can't narrow it down to one emotion. There'll be a lot of emotions. But it definitely makes me excited for that, and I can't wait to check in with you and let you know. Actually, you'll probably be able to see all these emotions flooding in out. So,
well, Robbie, I want to thank so much for your time today. It's been fantastic you having here on the Country HQ's Spotlight On. It's a special Groundwater Festival episode. Best of luck for the performance at Groundwater over in October, and congratulations on the release of This One's For You. For everyone listening, make sure to follow Robbie's journey on his socials. He does his socials fantastically. He's got the new single out on all the streaming platforms. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Like, subscribe, follow Robbie, and we'll see you all in Groundwater.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks very much. Appreciate your support, mate. Thank you.